The inquiry can be done as a Shavasana practice if you like, or as a sitting practice. We're going to be looking at doing a relaxation and then looking for who it is that's relaxing, who it is that's here. And Scott Kiloby's Unfindable Inquiry is a method that we can do that looking. So as with any inquiry, we're never looking for a particular result. We're really just looking to see what's there. So close your eyes and tune into your internal environment. And with the eyes closed, we can notice that we have certain ways of understanding our body in relation to the environment. We have the feeling of pressure along the back of our body, where we know that our body is connecting with the chair or the floor. And we have really specific information about that. I have my legs crossed on a footstool, and all I can feel is the corner of one heel. If I had my feet flat on the floor, I would be able to perceive the whole of my feet on the coolness of the floor. So however it is that you're situated in your environment, notice how it is that you, even with the eyes closed, you know that's how you're seated, that's how you're standing, how you're lying down. We know all of that through the sense perceptions primarily. And there's also a proprioceptive sense of, even with the eyes closed, we just know where our bodies are. Sometimes that's because we have an image of the body. And there's also this perception of pressure and touch. If our hands are touching on our body, they will be warm. And if our hands are touching on something cool, then they'll be cool. It's always a good first step to become aware of the space that your body is occupying and the sensations in that space. And then for a moment, open your eyes and look at your body. Now we have the visual. You can see what clothes you're wearing, what position your body's in. You can also look around the room and get that visual information about how you're situated in the environment. And as you're looking down at your body, even moving your hands, looking at your hands, and then close your eyes again. Notice that you can bring up that image of your hands and your body and what clothes you were just looking at. And look to see if the images of your body are your body. So there's no right or wrong answers. We're really just looking, okay, I have sensory perception, I have an actual body that's sitting here, and I have the images that I have of my body. I probably have thoughts about the images too, or thoughts about my body. But right now we're just looking at the image. So whatever image is present in your mind right now, it could be a memory of the visual just from a minute ago. Look to see if the image itself is you, is your body. And sometimes it feels like it is. And if that's the case, look and see what it is about it that feels like that's you, that's your body, that image that you're looking at. In your mind, turn the image upside down. Is that still your body, and is your body upside down now? Or move the image off into a corner of your view instead of right in the center. And then let the image dissolve. Notice if your body dissolved as well. So we're really just looking to see what our experience is right in this moment when we do that little exercise. Is that image who I am? Is that image my body? And then a lot of times our experience as well, it's not the image, but my body's still here. My body's sitting in this chair or lying on this floor. So even though it's not the image, there's still this physical component to my experience. And that's okay. We can let that be our experience. We're not trying to change anything. We're really just looking. And when you're looking at this situation that you're in, that you know that you have a body, you can feel it, there's sensory perceptions. Notice who it is or what part of you is aware of your body right now. So for most of us, there will be some sense of cognition in the mind, that it's somewhere in the mind that we're aware of sensation and we're aware of our body, that our body is here. And now you can keep some attention on the body, but let's also focus now on the breath. The breath and the energy in the body. One of the ways that we could work with that is by paying attention to the flow of breath in the nostrils. There are these sensations of coolness in the nostrils as we breathe in and warmth as we breathe out. And those sensations aren't really the breath. They're evidence that the breath is moving or flowing through the nostrils. And the mind is registering them. Some part of the mind knows that when we're feeling the relative coolness, that it's because we're breathing in. And there's lots of other evidence to support that. The lungs expand, the stomach gets a bit involved as well. We might have breath felt in the rib cage, maybe higher up in the chest or maybe lower down. So the body moves with the breath, and we know that when we watch the breath, we can see those patterns. And we know that when we're not watching the breath, that the breath continues anyway. And notice the dimension or part of your mind that's watching the breath right now. Notice that there's this observing that's happening. And for a moment, notice if the observer, that part of you that's observing, if that is actually affected by the inhalation and exhalation of your breath. So the nervous system in our body is activated a bit when we inhale and relaxes a bit when we exhale. Does the observer or the witness also activate and relax? Or is there some distance or some way that it's not affected? Notice what your experience is there. Notice if the witness is affected by the breath. Our attention to the breath might wander, and then what we're noticing is that our attention has wandered. So now let's include our mind, our thoughts, that lower level of the mind, the thought stream, into our attention. One thing we discover very quickly when we watch the train of thought is that thoughts always change. The content in our mind changes from moment to moment, from year to year. We might have patterns that persist, but even within those patterns, the content is always changing. And over time, the patterns can change as well. So we're noticing the body, the breath, the mind, the thoughts in the mind. And notice who it is that's witnessing all of that. There really are no right or no wrong answers to this looking. We're really just looking. We're noticing the body, the breath flow, the thoughts in the mind. And we're aware that even with the thoughts in the mind aren't what's witnessing the body and the breath. But there is something that's witnessing the thoughts in the mind. As we're paying attention or noticing this changing quality of the body, the sensations, the breath and energy, and the thoughts in the mind. Also notice if it feels like these things that change all of the time. The images, the sensations, the thoughts, the words. Are those you? Is your changing experience you? This person, this self that you identify as you? Are you those thoughts and energy and body? It's true that these exist in our experience. We have a body. We experience life through our bodies, through the breath and through the thoughts in our mind. And what else is here that's witnessing that process and experience of being a human? And let this observing of the play continue to happen, the play of thought and breath and body and senses. And continue to notice it as well if you like. And also put your attention into what it is that's noticing this, what it is that's witnessing. And does that change? Is the witnessing itself affected by what it's witnessing? Our attention is likely drawn to different things that come up in our mind, our breath, the body, And when the attention is drawn into something, some of the content is compelling enough that we lose touch a little bit with that witnessing for a moment, and then we come back. Notice what that is like in your experience. Does that mean something? Does that mean that the witnessing or the witnesser or the dimension of ourselves that doesn't change? Does that mean that that has changed somehow? Or is it just our attention that has been focused in a different place for a moment? And that during this exercise, we continue to drop back in to the witness, always looking at what it is that we're observing and who it is that's observing it. And not to get involved with that in a trying to figure it out conscious level of the mind kind of a way. Really just a noticing, a looking. This is inquiry. There's no right or wrong answers. Notice if thoughts can observe thoughts. Can the thought about, I need to pick up something at the store, observe the next thought about my toe is throbbing? Can that thought about, oh, I had a lot of quiet in my mind and now I've got these other thoughts coming up and I wish I was quiet again. Can that thought observe the flow of your breath in your nose? It seems there is a part of us or a dimension of us that is a witnesser or observer of all of the changing phenomena. Put your attention there for a moment and keep coming back to that perspective. And notice if that, whatever that is, if that is affected by the content that's arising in the mind, if it's affected by the breath or by the sensations in the body. There's a part of our minds that react to content. Notice if you can still observe the reaction. Notice if that observer is affected by the reaction to the content. And then as you are noticing whatever content is here and the changing nature of the content, look to see if that content is who you are. Is that changing content, is that a self, a person? There's no right or wrong answers. If it feels like there is a yes there, then notice how it is that you know that there's a yes there. Could be more thought, it could be sensation in the body, some kind of energies come up. And notice what it is that's observing that reaction, that response, that sense that that is true, that's who I am. And pull back into that perspective again for a moment. And look at this inquiry question and see what comes up for you right now. Who am I? Am I the body? The images and the sensations in my body? Am I the breath that flows in my nose or the energy I feel in the palms of my feet? Am I this thought or that thought or no thought? Or the next thought? And then let go of the inquiry and rest in that observer, the witness of all of what's just taken place. Notice that part of us, that dimension of us that's aware and observing our experience. And then when you're ready, open your eyes.